Are you getting a feel for how important the institution in this community is? Dr. Kitts, I grew up in Fort Erie. For generations, my family, the family of my wife, have contributed to the improvement of this community. Past municipal administrations have identified growth and prosperity as strategic goals for the town. The residents understand that with growth comes opportunities for employment, a broader range of affordable services, and enhancements to quality of life. When I was the mayor of Fort Erie, this municipality adopted policies that focused on efficiency, accountability, and responsiveness to our residents. We adopted strategies to attract new businesses and residents, to improve infrastructure, and to identify the health and wellness needs of our residents. We created partnerships to enhance our ability to compete with other municipalities to reach our objectives. We recognized early on that our employees and the residents of the town were part of the solution to achieving our goals. We worked diligently to build trust with those we worked with, those who could benefit our efforts, and those we served. We reached out to the Niagara Health System in 2002. We offered to be an ally when no other municipality would give it the time of day. We offered to assist in identifying the health needs of the people of Fort Erie, to lobby the provincial government on its behalf for resources and finances, and to provide it with advice on how to work cooperatively with all municipalities in Niagara to improve the lives of our residents. Despite proclaiming in its hospital improvement plan that its key values include compassion, sensitivity, professionalism, respect, and valuing the ideas and opinions of others, from the beginning, the NHS has been insensitive, deceitful, secretive, arrogant, condescending, and incompetent. Since its inception, the NHS has misled this community regarding its commitment to maintain services at Douglas Memorial Hospital. It has communicated only what it chose, when it chose, regarding any change in service levels at our hospital. It has surreptitiously removed diagnostic equipment from our hospital, some of which has been purchased by community organizations. It has worked at cross purposes with local municipalities on issues of vital importance. It has ignored offers to work with it to improve health care in Fort Erie, and it has mismanaged the hospital system in Niagara. In 8 years, the NHS has alienated the people it is charged with serving. There are very few individuals in Niagara that trust the NHS board or administration. That distrust has been earned, and now the NHS is reaping what it has sown. It has nurse shortages because nurses are cautioned about seeking work in the NHS. It has other human resource shortages in part because of its ridiculous mantra that Niagara is older, sicker, poorer. It has been unable to balance a budget despite cuts to services throughout Niagara. It fails to meet fundraising targets because it disrespects potential donors and breaks faith with those in the smaller communities who do donate. It lacks sincerity, creativity, or ingenuity. It is inefficient, unaccountable, and unresponsive. It is a ship adrift and sinking, and the people of Fort Erie and Niagara are the passengers. You will hear from several business leaders who are committed to Fort Erie and its people. They understand the importance of a full-service hospital to business and to a community. Premier McGuinty understands that a community without 24-hour health care is less competitive when it comes to attracting new investment, businesses, and employees. The region of Niagara has adopted a Grow South planning, economic, and infrastructure policy to encourage growth and development in South Niagara for the immediate future. The NHS either does not know any of this or it doesn't care. Fort Erie is a community that has embraced change historically. It has been an innovator in gaming, community health and wellness, literacy, transportation issues, and creating strategic alliances. We don't just criticize what we don't agree with or find defective, we suggest solutions. We agree that change is inevitable, that the status quo is not acceptable, but the Hospital Improvement Plan recommendations with respect to Douglas Memorial Hospital are not a viable or acceptable solution to what ails the NHS. Instead of eliminating services at our hospital, the NHS should be expanding services to lessen the burden on other hospitals in its system. Dr. Kitts, the status quo that requires changing is the board and administration of the NHS. Why would we expect the organization that has driven us into the ditch to find a way to get us out? The Hospital Improvement Plan is a fanciful document. Its recommendations for Douglas Memorial Hospital put the people of Fort Erie at risk. It leaves 30,000 residents without timely, equitable access to vital hospital services. It shifts the burden of transportation and the risks inherent in health care to the residents of Fort Erie. It should be evident that not only is the NHS leadership unable to manage and implement its plan, the NHS has no leadership. You have the ability to right this sinking ship. You have the responsibility to require efficiency, accountability, and responsiveness by the NHS to those it serves. You can begin to do that by recognizing that Niagara is not Ottawa, by maintaining 24-hour emergency services, inpatient surgery, and acute care beds at Douglas Memorial, and expanding other services to improve health care throughout the system. By recommending the removal of the board and administration of the NHS, by recommending the appointment of an interim supervisor to oversee the mandate of the NHS until a new board and administration can be put in place, and by requiring a moratorium on any service changes at Douglas Memorial until an acceptable plan for hospital services for Niagara is in place. Dr. Kitts, you will now hear from several voices of business.